Hello everyone, Colin back with another video. Today is a very interesting day because if you didn't know, which you probably, maybe, perhaps don't know because I rarely talk about it on this channel, but I'm indeed a film boy, yes. A movie lover through and through, film degree and all. I have the receipts and diploma to prove it, but I wanted to talk today about the last year in film. That's right, 2020 in film. And regardless of what fellow content creator and friend of mine, AJ Ford, says, 2020 was a shit year for film. Not only because of all the blockbusters being postponed, but because there just weren't that many good options on the market. But if there were, you can bet your butt that I probably saw them, and there are probably a lot I didn't see just because I said that comment. But we're just gonna talk about them, and that's how it's gonna go. We're gonna go worst to best every single film. This isn't gonna be long. I'm not gonna talk your ear off about like number 125 on my list of 125, but so yeah, it's going to be relatively rapid pace, kind of like a podcast type environment. I hope you guys enjoy. These are all of the films that I saw in 2020. So it turns out I don't even have 125 films on this list, but at number 114, we have Christmas Zombies. Christmas Zombies is euphoria. Christmas Zombies is something that every so bad it's good connoisseur should have on their plate. It came out at the end of this year, and it was a late entry into the worst film of the year category, but by golly, did it sweep it by a landslide. And when we go over some of the other films in this, you're going to be surprised that it did. But yeah, Christmas Zombies is the epitome of awful. It has a Christian value message forced in there somehow. One of the best Neil Breen impressions that I've ever seen in my entire life. Overall, it's a gorgeous product that made me and my girlfriend laugh from start to finish in hysterics, essentially. So yeah, go check it out, but you can't, because the best part about this film is it's $10 on Prime Video. So good luck finding it somewhere. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry. At number 113, we have Homeward. Homeward is the Asylum film version of Onward, and if you're looking at the animation on your screen right now, I don't really think that I need to say anything else. Now, not only was Onward a mediocre Pixar project, but if you take that into consideration, you make a mediocre project, an Asylum film, it's just going to be one of the worst films of the year, and it definitely was. Number 112 is Agent Jade Black. I'm not going to say anything about Agent Jade Black because I made a whole video about Agent Jade Black that you should definitely go check out right now. I'll leave a card to it in the top right hand description. Spy, glorious shithousery. Amazing. Loved it a lot. Number 111 is Driftless, which is actually a feature film that came out of my university. Grand Valley State University produced this film as their summer film project, and a couple of my friends worked on it, and needless to say, it's a piece of garbage because it's a college film, but yeah, it's something that you don't need to see, and you can't see because I saw it through a Vimeo link that's private, so sorry about that. Number 110 is The Murder of Nicole Brown Simpson. After the Hilary Duff film last year that I can't remember the name of whatsoever, these murder Hollywood exploitation films have risen in abundance, and none of them made their name more known this year than The Murder of Nicole Brown Simpson. It's awful looking, it's awful acting, it's awful everything. You should never watch it in your life, but if you do, I wholeheartedly apologize. Number 109 is Abigail Haunting. During the beginning of quarantine, I went on a journey with my mother to discover the inner pits of hell and depths of horrible films on Amazon Prime. And this was the first one that we saw that we were like, holy shit, this is just going to be a gold mine. It's awful horror at its finest, horrible cinematography, just a gross product to watch that is, the jump scares are just laughable. I wouldn't recommend watching this one though. It was just hard to get through. Number 108 is Norm of the North, Family Vacation, another addition to the Norm of the North canon, which is up to what, 4 films? 5 films now? There are so many other films out there that could have had sequels made to them, but they chose Norm of the North because God has left us. Number 107 is Artemis Fowl. Everyone said what to say about Artemis Fowl. It's just one of the most shilliest, awful Disney products this year that comes from a pretty solid source material and just does not translate to film whatsoever. Horrible lead performance, child actor, bad. Every CGI, bad. Nothing good about it. Josh Gad unhinging his chin, his jaw, kind of sexy, but bad. Just not worth your time at all. Number 106 is After We Collided. Again, these things just keep getting sequels. The Wattpad One Direction fanfiction got a sequel and casted Dylan Sprouse in it for some reason, and it was just as bad, if not worse, than the first one. Again, so much toxic behavior happens in these films, and the fact that they're being shown to younger audiences as like model relationships. Number 105 is The Tax Collector. Me and my friend Weston saw this at a drive-in theater, and we didn't know what was going on half the time, but we did know that Shia LaBeouf had an awful accent, and there was far too many cuts for my liking, and the story just did not know how to be told. But overall, it was kind of fun, and by kind of fun, I mean not fun at all. Number 104 is Jiu-Jitsu. Jiu-Jitsu is a movie that we talked about on our podcast, Banter for Two, which you can find on Spotify, and it is another addition to the So Bad It's Good canon. Something that I enjoyed more than most things. The most fun Nicolas Cage performance this year by far, even though there are slim pickings on that one. Tony Jaa kicks ass. Horrible cinematography, horrible editing, more than anything in the world, and just a gorgeous mess that you can feast yourself on. Number 103 is Holidate. Holidate is a Hallmark film on Netflix with a abuser as the main character. So maybe don't watch it. It's awful. Don't really have much else to say about that one. Number 102 is Dangerous Lies with Camila Mendes. I think that's her name, right? And can I be honest with you guys? I forgot about this film. I watched it on a Netflix party with my girlfriend, and I have no fucking idea what happened in the entire thing. So I'm just gonna move on. But the fact that I don't remember any of it, it should signify that you just don't go for it. Number 101A and number 101B are My Boyfriend's Meds. And the reason why they're split up like this is me and my best friend Trent went to see the Spanish version of this without subtitles. I can speak Spanish, so that's how it works. And we went to see the English dub of this. And my God, is it glorious? Is it magnificent? Just essentially like a really shitty telenovela just wrapped up into he forgets his pills, going on a vacation with this girl he likes, and that's like essentially the plot of the film. Again, this one is a beginning of the year one, so I can't remember as much about it, but it is, oh man. So yeah. Number 100 is Fantasy Island, one of the worst plots this entire year. Lucy Hale, I believe, Michael Pena having just awful performances. A horror film that isn't even a horror film. It's just kind of like sci-fi trash, but I didn't even enjoy it for the trash that it was. So get it out of here. I still believe a Christian movie that doesn't actually push its Christian message too much. Too bad the lead actors are KJ Apa and Britt Robertson, who haven't made a single product that is good for either of them in their entire life. So yeah, that kind of sucks for them. The story is actually decent in real life, but it's pretty shitty in the film. Number 98, Like a Boss. One of my favorite cinematic moments of this year is Billy Porter walking out of a restaurant yelling, "Witness my tragic moment." It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. Salma Hayek is ridiculous. Tiffany Haddish is ridiculous. Rose Byrne is just awful. Which super surprised me. I'm expecting ridiculousness from Tiffany Haddish and Salma Hayek with like the worst wig in the world on, but Roseburn, come on. I don't know. It was a lot of fun. It was the first film that I saw in theaters this year, and I can't wait to go back to a theater again. The Turning. Finn Wolfhard kills things. I guess that's it. Number 96 is Dolittle. I showed up to Dolittle on opening night, and not a single person was in the theater for opening night. This is before Corona and everything like that. So that should tell you where I am with this film. It is a tragedy. There's a part where a dragon, who again is not an animal, Dr. Dolittle should not be communicating with it, but he farts, and he farts out items that he's eaten. So yeah, that's about it. I don't really want to talk about this anymore. Also, Robert Downey Jr., man, you better be getting those Marvel checks because your career is going downhill fast. Number 95 is My Spy. Yes, the trailer that you saw for like a whole year and then got dumped on Amazon Prime, and nobody has seen since. With Dave Bautista, where at the end of the trailer, one of the actors goes, it's like the wedding scene from Shrek, and then that's like all I know about this film. I can't remember any of it. Sorry. Number 94 is Songbird. It is a film about a pandemic, specifically the one we're going through right now, made in a pandemic. To which I have to say, why? Why did you decide to do this? Who signed off on it? And more importantly, can I get them fired from ever being behind a film again? Number 93 is Love Guaranteed, which I don't even know if this is a Netflix film, but I just have to assume that it is because of how awful it is. And man. You can't really, I don't think terms and conditions are meant to be interpreted that literally, but hey, what do I know? I'm just someone who watched movies. Brain hurt. Number 92 is Magic Camp. Did a podcast on this one, but man, Adam Devine is really trying. Number 91 is The Witches. I already did a podcast on this one, but man, Anne Hathaway is really trying. Number 90 is Capone. Another so bad it's good canon. Tom Hardy puts on one of the most hilarious performances that I saw this year, and there's a part where he is like shitting in a diaper, and there's poop sound effects going on, and he's shooting up his house. And I don't really think I need to say anything more than that to convince you to watch it, but if I do, Matt Dillon shows up for like 10 seconds, and that's always fun. Number 89, Sincerely Louis C.K. I just don't get Louis C.K.'s humor, and after everything that he's gone through, I'm just not a big fan. Not gonna give you much on this one, sorry. Number 88 is The Wrong Missy. I was gonna make a video about this and the Happy Madison scam where they just go on vacations for every single film, but god damn if this did not suck. David Spade has like no charisma as a lead actor, and there's just nothing funny here. The overacting of his romantic lead just does not work whatsoever. It just comes off as annoying and just grating to my psyche. And yeah, it was a rough ride. Number 87 is Scoob. I already have a video on this on the channel, so you can check that out in the car in the right hand corner. But yeah, man, they really had the chance to make like a pretty solid film, especially with the animation, but they just couldn't pull through. But what do I really expect from Warner Brothers at this point? Number 86 is Trolls World Tour. It's Trolls World Tour. The only saving grace is Anderson .Paak sings for like a minute and a half, and that made me very happy. But nothing else about this film made me happy. Number 85, The War with Grandpa. Robert De Niro tries to murder a child. No, that's not actually what happens, but like it gets pretty close. It's a little bit scary at times, and the morals of the ethics of an adult man engaging in combat with a young child is weird, but it's a family film. Who cares? Fun for everyone. Number 84 is Superintelligence. You put Melissa McCarthy in a movie, you put James Corden in a movie, and I'm just not gonna like it. Sorry. Number 83 is Half Brothers. I don't know what to say about this one. I saw it at a screening, and it's about two guys going on a road trip to find out who their like mom was, or what like the situation with their dad. And the dad's like a really manipulative piece of shit who, on his deathbed, essentially like clickbaits and like cliffhangers his actual sons. So yeah, and from then on, the movie's just messed up. Number 82 is The Last Shift, which is just Performative activism at its finest. It's just horrible political, racial commentary that just does not work whatsoever and does not have a engaging main character for us to sympathize with. He's just racist, and that's it. So, garbage. Number 81 is The New Mutants. It's The New Mutants. It's a film that's been on the back burner for like 4 years. Did you expect anything good from it? I didn't, and but I was surprised by the tinge of racism in there. That tasted pretty awful to me. Hey, what do I know? I just watch movies. That's all I do. Number 80 is Coffee and Cream. Ed Helms is in this, and of course he's Ed Helms, being one of the biggest voids of charisma in film history. Awful, trash, garbage, don't watch it. Number 75 is American Pie, Girls Rules. If you could have seen my face when I saw Zach Gordon come on screen in an American Pie film, I lost my shit. Also, when Madison Pettis came on screen, also lost my shit. It's American Pie, but with women, which still doesn't make it any better. Actually, that's a lie. It does make it a tinge better because men are trash, but the comedy isn't elevated whatsoever from any other American Pie film. Garbage. Next. Number 78 is The Sleepover. It's just a really bad kids film on Netflix. I don't remember half of it. It's just like bad spy, parents bad thing. I don't know, dude. Number 77 is The Christmas Chronicles 2, follow-up to The Christmas Chronicles 1. This is the best Chris Columbus film since Pixels, and it's also the only Chris Columbus film since Pixels, so take that as you will. Number 76 is The Lie, which is part of like the Blumhouse 4 release on Prime Video, and this is definitely the worst of them. The Lie just sucks. Joey King can't act to save her life, never has, never will be able to. Awful premise, and you just want to beat the shit out of her every single moment because of how awful of a person she is in the film. Number 75, Brahms The Boy 2. Finally, a film that I can talk about that I had so much fun with. The last 20 minutes of this film are batshit insane, and you will love every single moment of it. I was crying laughing in an empty theater in the first week right before lockdown hit, and it was just so much fun, so good, so pure. I don't care if it's bad. I love it. Number 74 is The Thing About Harry. Listen, I am all for representation in film. We finally have a pan character in this film, and it's very nice to see a guy-on-guy relationship, even if it is a TV movie. That being said, man, can't we just make them better? Can't we just make them better? Can't we have rom-coms for the gays and the girls that are actually realistic? It's all I want. It's all I want. But we're not getting it anytime soon if The Thing About Harry is a judgment of that. Number 73, we have The Grudge. It's the Grudge remake. It was like the January horror film of this year. Directed by someone who has a lot of talent, as proven by The Eyes of My Mother and Piercing. But, hey, when you go to the mainstream, you never come back to making good films for some people. That's the way it is, and it seems like it is this way for this director. Number 72 is Mulan. So imagine the original Mulan, and then take away every single thing that made it what it was. The adventure, the creativity, the humor. Just take all of that away. Mushu, take all of that away, and then you get Mulan live action. Number 71 is Animal Crackers. I don't remember this. There's some, they eat animal crackers and they turn into animals. I don't know, dude. I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you more, but just don't watch it, I guess. Number 70 is Jack in the Box. It's a movie about a Jack in the Box that's haunted. The end. Number 69 is Sonic the Hedgehog. It's awful. Someone in the back of the theater when we were watching it and Sonic started flossing screamed Fortnite, and I think that should sum up my feelings on the film. Number 68 is Stargirl. Man, Julia Hart, what happened? I loved Fast Color, I loved Miss Stevens, and now you're making things like this. What's going on? Number 67 is The Broken Hearts Gallery. This film, if you smell it, it reeks of privilege and annoyance. And oh my God, why did I watch this at a drive-in where I had the full opportunity to drive away, but I just didn't. It's awful. Dacre Montgomery sucks too. He's just a void of charisma once again, but yeah, this was a rough one to get through. Number 66 is Work It. Man, Another just Netflix thing, except Lisa Koshy is in this one, which automatically deteriorates the level of your product down significantly. So, Dancing with Teenagers, haven't seen that one before. Number 65 is Life in a Year, which is actually a film that I didn't really hate. Jaden Smith and Cara Delevingne are okay in it, but it's just like the Fault in Our Stars. It's the Paper Towns. It's a John Green book without being a John Green book, which is pretty formulaic. But I didn't hate it, so if you want to take that into account. Number 64 is Downhill, and this film went downhill fast. Seriously, why would you remake Force Majeure with fucking Will Ferrell? What a great job. What a wonderful idea. Let's remake one of the best films of the past decade, with one of the most interesting plot lines ever and interesting conundrums and decisions ever made in a film. And let's do it with Will Ferrell, the dramatic master. Yeah, good idea. Number 63 is Hubie Halloween. I have no idea why I was super excited to see this when it came out. I was like, hey, it'll be a fun Adam Sandler movie, but of course, boop, ruin my expectations. It's just another Happy Madison film. It's not as offensive as most Happy Madison films, which most people are like, oh, you're talking about the ones from like the early 2010s. No, the Wrong Missy is pretty offensive. So yeah, this one was just rough for me, but overall, pretty harmless, actually, surprisingly. Number 62 is The Happiest Season. Controversial opinion. I really don't like this film at all. All of the family characters, except for Kristen Stewart, who is the main character, are just awful. Her girlfriend gaslights her the whole film into thinking different things and making her act ways that she clearly does not want to be acting, and she doesn't end up with Aubrey Plaza at the end, which breaks my little heart. Number 61 is The Rental, the most Dave Franco film he could have made for his directorial debut. And again, just more gaslighting, it's in a horror film, so it's okay this time. But yeah, it's just kind of boring. There's nothing that like sticks out about it. There's no spectacular technical aspects. There's no spectacular acting. It's just overall just not great. Number 60 is Freaky. Also did a podcast on this one, but Vince Vaughn carried this film on his back. The mannerisms that he absorbs and obtains from being a teenage girl is kind of scary in a way. But overall, it's a very, very interesting premise, as most of the films who are directed by this guy who did Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day 2 are, but the execution just does not work for me. It's just very millennial. It's just very millennial quirk dialogue that just does not work for me. But hey, it'll probably work for some of you. Number 59 is Vivarium. Vivarium is a film that, in theory, I should absolutely love. Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots are in a world where it's just a bunch of houses and they get delivered a child and they have to put up with the child, but they're trying to escape. But it's just so pointless. There's no point to the film. There's no overarching thing that they're trying to achieve. There's nothing that I could be like, ooh, this is something that I care about. Just nothing. Number 58 is The Rhythm Section. Again, another early release in the year. I don't remember much about this other than being kind of bored but kind of intrigued. And I'm sorry that I can't give you a better review than that, but that's what I got. Number 57 is Prom. I hated Prom, but it's an alright musical. You know what I mean? Like it's an alright musical. The musical aspects of it are definitely what holds it up here. Not the horrendous acting. The singing's actually just alright. And the underutilization of Nicole Kidman is blasphemous. Come on. Like on the surface, I should hate this film more because James Corden and Meryl Streep. But it's just Number 56 is The Lovebirds. You put Kumail Nanjiani in a film and you put Issa Rae in a film and you put them together and it's a comedy and like a chase comedy. You think I would love that. But overall, the dialogue really holds this one back. It's pretty corny. It's a pretty generic storyline. Didn't really get much out of it. But it was fun. I'll say it was fun. Number 55 is Black Box, another one of the Blumhouse 4 film release. And I think I actually like this one a decent amount. It's boring and it's formulaic once again, but Phylicia Rashad is in it, and she is just a magnum opus wherever she goes, queen of all queens. But yeah, the premise is interesting, and again, once again, like most of these films I talk about at the bottom here, they just can't execute it. Number 54 is Chemical Hearts. I like this film a lot. Not saying much on how I viewed it critically, but because, man, Lily Reinhardt and the other dude, I think his name was Austin Abrams, don't quote me on that though, they don't have a lot to work with here. The dialogue is so pretentious, it's so teenage, it's so angsty, it's so gross, and that holds this back from being actually a pretty decent, like, more serious Fault in Our Stars YA type of film. Number 53 is An American Pickle. The concept is nifty, and now that I look back on it, I might like it more than I initially rated it, but I did do a podcast on this, so you can check that out. But it's just fine. It's just cool. I like the dual Rogans. I think the dual Rogans work well, and the fact that it's like a commentary on social media and stuff like that. But overall, I like the fact that it's a commentary on that stuff, but the commentary does fall a little bit flat, and there's the plot just meanders all over the place a lot. Number 52 is The Lodge. The Lodge is a film that I had a lot of hopes for. This was from the directors of Goodnight Mommy, which is a pretty solid film, but just didn't do anything for me. Again, no point, no sense made. A horror film where everything could have been solved from either perspective if they just took like 1 minute to think about it, but they didn't. Again, a controversial opinion, but hey, that's kind of what I do. Number 51 is Bad Boys for Life. Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, so much charisma there. It's just a fun action film. They accomplished what they needed to. It's nothing more, nothing less. It's just an average, fun, blockbuster film. Number 50 is Coda, which is a film that I don't know if many people have seen. It's Patrick Stewart, and he plays the piano. And he's very good at playing the piano, and that's something that I did appreciate about this film, but there's not really much to it other than that. It's just kind of like serene background film that, like, if you're reading or if you're cooking, you could just turn on, and it's just there to watch, but not much depth to it whatsoever. Number 49, Bill and Ted Face the Music. I have seen no other Bill and Ted films, so I'm just going off of this. And it's all right. It's super campy, and it knows that it's super campy, but it has fun with what it is, but it never pretends to be this like great product. So overall, it's just cool. It's cool. It's cool. I didn't hate it. A lot of people that I watched it with did hate it, but yeah, it's all right. Number 48 is Vampires vs. the Bronx. This is a film that I appreciate more than I liked. I appreciate it because it's a film for a younger audience, a horror film for a younger audience that I could show this to my kids and I wouldn't feel bad about it. And that's some stuff that I love, and I think we need more of in the film industry is younger based horror films. It's super dope. Love the atmosphere of it. But overall, it is pretty corny, so I can't put it too high. But I liked it. Number 47 is Underwater. TJ Miller's in this, so automatically it can't be good. But it's all right. Kristen Stewart, once again, is just having the time of her life this year, killing everything. The ending of this film is actually pretty solid. The plot's okay, and I liked a lot of the CGI. I thought it worked pretty well. The concept of a horror film underwater isn't really something that's super popular, so it had a little bit of originality to it. Overall, this was a pretty solid January release. Number 46 is Big Time Adolescence. In my opinion, the lesser of the two Pete Davidson films this year. It's just, growing up is weird, essentially. I don't know, dude. It's just kind of boring. Number 45 is the Harley Quinn movie Birds of Prey, and I actually like this film a decent amount. I don't really like DC films at all whatsoever, but yeah, this one was pretty chill. The choreography is great. The characters suck. The acting sucks. But the choreography of this film just like blows it away. It blows it out of the water. And for an action film, choreography is the essential there. You need to have good choreography or your film isn't going to succeed. So this is much high. If the choreography was bad in this, it would be much lower. But overall, it's just an average film for me. Number 44 is To All the Boys. P.S. I Still Love You. I just have a soft spot for these films. They're relatively solidly made on a YA level, and Lana Condor and Noah Centineo, for some reason, have really good chemistry. And Jordan Fisher was fun in this too. It suffers from the syndrome where the second romantic lead gets outplayed by the first romantic lead when the second romantic lead was clearly better. Justice for Jordan Fisher, I say. Number 43 is Let Him Go. I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't watch this movie whatsoever. It was at a screening, I was super distracted, but from what I gathered, Kevin Costner, Diane Lane, saving a baby, pretty cool. Number 42 is Greenland, a film that I thought was going to be awful and turned out being not so bad. Post-apocalyptic, one of the best roles from Gerard Butler in a very long time, which is a weird thing for me to say, because I don't think Gerard Butler has ever had a good performance, but pretty tight, pretty compact, pretty action-packed, and the action's really not that bad, and it's just overall a decently tense atmosphere to exist in for the 2 hours that you give it. But then you don't think about it for, like, after 10 minutes have passed. Number 41 is Kajillionaire, another unpopular opinion. I hate Kajillionaire. It is a decent film, but it's just trying to be Parasite, essentially, but funny. And it is true. I really liked Evan Rachel Wood and Gina Rodriguez's blossoming relationship, and that's kind of what held this film together for me. But God, just so not funny, and all the people are just kind of pieces of shit. Number 40 is Tenet. Another, again, controversial opinion. I don't like Tenet at all. It's very boring. The plot is misconstrued and misunderstood by a lot of people. I got it particularly fine on my first watch, but they word things in a way where it's just not needed to do that. You can pull this off in a better manner. You know what I mean? And it didn't have to be like 3 hours. John David Washington gives a performance as a literal piece of cardboard, and Robert Pattinson has what seems to be the time of his life. So good on him. Number 39 is Jingle Jangle, a film that I went into expecting to be like, but a film I came out of being like, heck yeah, this is actually a pretty solid musical. Keegan-Michael Key is having fun. Forest Whitaker is having fun. The main actor in this film, the young girl, is a phenomenal singer. Most of these songs are written very well, and it's just an overall fun family time that I enjoyed. Speaking of fun family time, number 38 is The Willoughbys, a more mature animated film, again on Netflix, because Jesus Christ, if that wasn't the savior of this year, Netflix putting out like anything and everything they could get their hands on. But no, Willoughbys was actually a lot of fun. It has a pretty interesting lesson in it. It's one of those family films where they can manage to put out a complex enough storyline, but still work in messages for children. I love films like that, and The Willoughbys was super fun. Number 37 is The Platform. This came out at the beginning of quarantine, I believe, and I don't really remember much about it other than the metaphors are cool. We of course like the classism. It's kind of basic, but they don't utilize it in a way where they're bashing you over the head with it. And the ending is actually a pretty interesting thing to do, and takes on a whole nother level of metaphors and symbolism and stuff like that. So The Platform was all right. Number 36 is Mom, Mothers of Monsters, which is a very interesting, contained, like horror thriller type thing, which about mental warfare between a mother and her son. Something that I haven't seen a lot of people talk about, and I really enjoy. It's super cool. It's super interesting. And the psychological warfare that goes on kind of left me in a daze after I finished. Very surprising, very cool. Check it out. Number 35 is All the Bright Places, one of the better YA novels. Number 35 is All the Bright Places, one of my favorite YA films that came out this year. I think Elle Fanning and Justice Smith have some of the best chemistry that I've seen in a YA film. The subject matter is more serious, and regardless of the dialogue being relatively corny, I can appreciate it taking on such a sincerely thought of and severe message. Number 34 is Borat 2. Borat 2 is not Borat 1, but Borat 2 is Borat 2, and Borat 2 is pretty good. Number 33 is The Babysitter Killer Queen. The Babysitter is a franchise that I absolutely love. It's one of the few franchises that's able to master campiness in the horror genre right now. And it doesn't ever try to elevate itself to a higher level than it is. It's just a lot of fun. Surprisingly, a decent performance by King Botch here, or King Bach. I don't know his name, but it's all right. Number 32 is Weathering with You. Weathering with You is just a pretty good anime film. Again, from the beginning of the year, very fantastical, very Your Name type vibes, but just worse overall on the plot line and stuff like that. But no, I had fun with it. Number 31 is Horse Girl from Jeff Baena, which is a director who puts out constantly pretty quirky and fun things, and Horse Girl is no exception. Man, Alison Brie just really goes for it here and has a lot of fun. Debbie Ryan is good in the first thing ever. I don't think she's ever been good in anything else in her life, but overall, it's just a little too spaced out for me, but I definitely had a lot of fun with it. Number 30 is Spree. I will be using my time to talk about this film to say that we need a Josh Ovalle directed film. Give us Stupid Bitches Enterprises. Number 29 is The Hunt. Ultimately, for The Hunt, the political commentary doesn't work for me until about the last 20 minutes, but it's a lot of fun. The gore is pretty cute. And the main performance is fantastic, man. I gotta tell you, Betty Gilpin just puts out a just wonderfully zany, crazy performance that with an accent that I don't know if it'll ever be in film history again. Number 28 is Save Yourselves. Me and my girlfriend saw this at a drive-in together, and wow. We couldn't see shit out of the front because it was completely fogged up because the car battery died. So, yeah, but from what I saw of this film, it was once again, I know I'm saying this about a lot of these films, it was a lot of fun. A nifty little sci-fi experience that is just really out there, but not in the way that's like quirky garbage, but in the way that it's like, oh, this is really absurdist and really fun, and I'm enjoying watching this on screen and just watching it unfold. It's pretty cool. It's out there. It's fun. I don't know, and definitely this is a film to watch out for, especially considering it's a debut film from two directors. So yeah. Number 27 is The Half of It, the peak of young adult films that I've seen this year. It's a very interesting story about representation. It's a very interesting story about unrequited love that I haven't seen particularly tackled this way, in a very gay way, which of course we love to see. And this is the film that I feel really brought on the himbo swing of 2020. I'm just saying. Number 26 is Gretel and Hansel, the take on the classic story Hansel and Gretel, but instead it's a very interesting director at the helm this time. Oz Perkins, the Blackcoat's daughter, is so good, and going from that to a more mainstream January horror film, I could have gotten a lot worse. Sophia Lillis is fantastic. The set design and the costume design and the production design, all is just magnificent, but the dialogue just really does not work in this. It's a little bit too pretentious, but it's a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed it. Number 25 is Swallow. Swallow is a film that I feel like could have been much better than it was, but nonetheless, it's such an interesting concept. It's such a unique concept that it couldn't possibly be bad, about a woman who becomes obsessed with swallowing things. And I don't know. It's more somber and less ridiculous than I would have expected, which kind of detracts from it just a little bit, but I don't know. It's a very interesting look into the human psyche, and for that I have to commend it. Number 24 is Onward. It's Onward. It's a basic average Pixar film. What do you expect? I'm not gonna say anything else about it. Sorry. Number 23 is The Invisible Man, the last movie I saw in theaters before everything went to shit. Elizabeth Moss is just so good in everything that she does, and this is not an exception. She is holding this film together by the strings, and I think that The Invisible Man itself could have been utilized more in a scarier way, but I can't complain about this film. Technically very competent, acting very competent, just overall just a chill, fun horror film. I keep using the word fun. Jesus. Number 22 is Palm Springs. And all I have to say for Palm Springs is that it is the perfect way to use Groundhog's Day in a film. I think Groundhog's Day is a trope that does not work and is very overused, but they use it here in the perfect way, so no one should ever do it again. All right, Hollywood? I'm looking at you. You better be listening to me. Number 21 is The King of Staten Island. We did a podcast on this also, but Pete Davidson here shows that he can act. The intro sequence to this film and the outro sequence to this film are incredibly beautiful and definitely some of the best of the year in my personal opinion, especially the intro sequence that not a lot of people are talking about. Moises Arias is in there, and he's always a ride. But yeah, I like a more dramatic turn from Pete Davidson to see him actually delve into his own psyche. And this is a Judd Apatow film I liked, which is very uncommon. Number 20 is The Empty Man, the sleeper hit of the year, a psychological thriller horror that nobody talked about because it was dumped without a trailer coming out within a week of its release. And it's so good. It's a slow burn psych horror. Similar to Hereditary, similar to a lot of other psych horrors out there that I'm not going to name. But it's so interesting, and I'm disappointed that this did not get the recognition it deserved, nor did it get the release that it deserves. So everybody out there, please go watch The Empty Man. You will not be disappointed. Number 19 is She Dies Tomorrow, another very, very, very conceptually rich film that was pretty solid, like amazing to me until like the last 20 minutes or so, where it just kind of falls apart a little bit and doesn't really have a concrete ending. And by concrete ending, I'm fine with ambiguous endings, but it doesn't even like have an ending at all, essentially. So yeah, but Amy Seimetz is so good in this, and so is Caitlin Schell, who I just watched in the comedy. Fantastic performance. But yeah, Amy Seimetz really hits the mark with this one. Number 18 is The Devil All the Time, a film that I was very, very excited for. Antonio Campos is a fantastic director. The cast is star-studded, but ultimately it left me a little bit underwhelmed. Some of the performances didn't live up to the hype that I expected for it, and although I really appreciate the way that the story is able to intertwine all of these segments, somehow for me it just does not serve too much of a purpose, and it does get a little bit jumbled up sometimes. Number 17 is Yes, God, Yes, one of my friends AJ Ford's basically favorite film of the year, and although I'm not that high on the film, it's very good, and sex is cool. Number 16 is Blow the Man Down, which I think it's like a Coen Brothers film, but like badass female as fuck. It's this like beautiful portrayal of like New England, and by beautiful I mean horrific. it's so stunningly eerie and so stunningly mundane. There's so much beauty in all of the simple, like kind of gross things about this place, and I don't know. They really managed to make it work here, and I loved it. Number 15 is I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I don't really want to talk about I'm Thinking of Ending Things much because I will very likely make a video on it at some point in the future, but just know that it is the best book that I've ever read, and it let me down massively. Fuck you, Charlie Kaufman. Eat a dick. Number 14 is The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, Kimmy versus the Reverend. One of the funniest things that I watched all year. It's Bandersnatch, but for Kimmy Schmidt. And Daniel Radcliffe plays her prince husband. So yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Go do it. Tituss Burgess is a king. Number 13 is Bad Education. This one is really supported solely by something that I consider still to be probably an Oscar-nominated performance in Hugh Jackman, who just knocks it out of the park as a well-meaning but corrupt principal. All the supporting cast is great too. Allison Janney really does well in a scorned assistant role. Ray Romano is wild as shit. It's insane. It's an interesting turn from Corey Finley that I like to see expanded upon in his next film. Number 12 is Shirley. Again, another film held up by the greatness of Elizabeth Moss, but also just the eerie tension that the cinematography and editing portrays here. The score is also fantastic on this one. Michael Stuhlbarg is great. Logan Lerman is wild in this. And I don't know. It's one of the eerier films that I've seen this year, and I just love the tension and atmosphere that it all brought to me. Number 11 is Wolfwalkers. I got to see it in theaters, and boy, was it so gorgeous. 2D animation is such a valuable art form that we need to properly appreciate, and I believe that GKIDS is really, really bringing that in and hitting that home. I loved it. I love it a lot. It's wholesome, it's interesting, but it's complex enough to make it a valid family film. Go watch Wolfwalkers now. It's one of the only good things Apple TV Plus has ever done. Number 10 is His House. There are good horror films, there are bad horror films, there are even just mediocre horror films, but what we can never have enough of is important horror films that have a message to say, horror films that dive into realms that we do not generally see in cinema, and His House does that so well that I don't want to say anything else about it other than just go watch the movie. Number 9 is Get Duked. It's like Edgar Wright, but a little bit more juvenile, and I had a blast. There are so many quotables from this film. DJ Beetroot is a godsend from acting heaven. Just 4 lads out in the countryside trying not to die. It's on Prime right now. Go watch it. It's so much fun. I had a blast. Not many other people did, so maybe you won't like it because people say it is an Edgar Wright copy, but I think it almost does some things better than Edgar Wright. Sorry, Edgar. Number 8 is Sell It in the Spades by Tyresha Poe. Oh my gosh. A film starring Jeriel Jerome, also starring Lovey Simone, who is 1000% the breakout star of this film and someone that we should be seeing in films for years to come as a staple of the Academy, as a staple of anything. She knocks this completely out of the park. There's so much to love here. It breaks down the dichotomy of high school in little cliques, but they're like mafias. They're like several mafias. Absolute and complete black excellence that cannot be denied whatsoever. I loved it. Again, it's on Prime right now. Go watch it. Number 7 is The Vast of Night by Andrew Patterson. Everybody has been talking about this one. A wonderful micro-budget sci-fi short that I watched 2 times within the span of 3 days. The last 20 minutes sent my spine shivering. Gorgeous, especially considering the budget that it's on, and I could not ask for a better film with the money given. Loved it. Again, it is on Prime. Go watch it right now. Number 6 is First Cow, the only A24 release, and of course it has to be up here. I did a podcast on it already, but man, Kelly Reichardt just knows how to direct, doesn't she? She just knows how to put together a fantastic film. I haven't seen a film from her that hasn't been fantastic. A slow burn to the nth degree, and something that not a lot of people will enjoy, but if you enjoy just wading through like an ocean, but like to your knees, and just like going through the mud and just feeling and absorbing all of the coolness around you, and all the environment and all the atmosphere. First Cow is the film to do it with. At number 5, I have Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. Eliza Hittman just takes everyday life and just delivers it to you. Another very important topic, abortion, served to you in the way that it is in rural America. There's no better way to put it. It's so organic. It says so much with such little dialogue that I can't help but say you need to watch it right now. Number 4 is Minari. I got very lucky to see Minari. I copped a screening of it for like $12 in the middle of December, and it's just so good. Steven Yeun should be nominated. Han Ye-ri should be nominated. The interaction between the son and the grandmother is just so wholesome, holistic, and it portrays the American dream from an outsider's perspective better than I've seen in most films. So, top tier film of this year, needs to be acknowledged by everyone. Number 3 is Black Bear, which is a film that would generally see at the top of my list. It is a mind bender. It twists and turns around every single thing. Amazing performances from all 3, Aubrey Plaza, Christopher Abbott, and Sarah Gadon. I love everything about this movie, except for a little bit of a drag near the latter half of the second act, but it is so amazing to just see how this unfolds. Amazing performances, amazing dichotomy, amazing structure, pure brilliance from Lawrence Michael Levine. Number 2 is Residue, the literal hidden gem of the year. I'm not going to say much about this, but Marawi Jarima is someone that everyone should be looking towards. It's like The Last Black Man in San Francisco, but less dreamlike and more organic, even though it still is dreamlike. I don't know how to portray this film in words in a way that I'd be able to sell you it. But know that it's one of the most important films that I've seen all year, and more than likely one of the most important films I've seen or will see in the 2020 decade. Go watch it right now. It's 90 minutes. That's all you need. As close to perfection as one can possibly get. And number 1 is Soul. Yeah, that's weird to me too. As someone who has been a big advocate against Pixar for the past decade, I had no idea that a Pixar film would be my number 1 film of the year, but everything about it works. It is so genuine and it is so introspective for a Pixar film, especially considering the films that have preceded it have not taken that route whatsoever. It's existential. It provokes so much thought inside of you. It's gorgeously animated. It felt the music, the jazz. Oh my God, the jazz, right? I think this would be a Damien Chazelle movie or something, but it's not. I know I'm being sarcastic, but I'm still blown away with the film to this day. So that's why I'm having a bit of difficulty saying stuff about it. But I'm sure you have seen it. I'm sure you've formed your own opinion on it because it's Soul and it's Pixar. But yeah, Jamie Foxx with one of the best voice acting roles I've seen in a while. Tina Fey manages to make her work in a Pixar film, and gotta love to see Daveed Diggs sprinkled in there as well. Beauty in its purest, most concentrated form. So yeah, that's 2020. A rough year, but towards the top, we got some pretty good heavy hitters there. Not a 10 this year for me, but hopefully next year I'll be able to scour and find one out. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching the video so much. I'd like to give a huge shout out to our patron, Weston Kentucky, and our producer, AJ Ford. If you'd like to join the ranks of our patrons and get a pretty nifty gift per level, I would recommend checking out the link in the description. Also, we have our Spotify, our Twitch, and our Twitter in there as well. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will be talking to you in the next one. Peace. Goodbye. I said peace. I didn't say goodbye. Fuck.